So you bring home a houseplant and you love it dearly. But then one day you notice that it's not doing well, and the next thing you know, it's completely dead. Yes, we've all been there, and it sucks. So today we're going to talk about the most common reasons that houseplants die and how to prevent them from happening so that you can keep your plants alive. Let's get started. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go through some of the most common reasons that houseplants die. Spoiler alert, it's usually because of us doing something wrong, so don't feel bad. I promise that by the end of this video, you'll know how to prevent these things from happening to your houseplants so that they can live a long and happy life. If you're new here, welcome. It's my mission to help you become successful with your houseplants so that you can enjoy the benefits that they bring into our lives. So if that sounds good, hit that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date with new weekly videos. Okay? Let's start with the most common reason that houseplants die, and that's overwatering. Overwatering happens when you water your plant too frequently. Even though we think that killing a plant with water is hard to do, it's actually pretty easy to do. Plants need water to survive, but too much water can suffocate the roots and kill the plant. Most indoor plants only need to be watered when the soil is dry. If you're not sure whether or not your plant needs to be watered, it's always better to check the soil first to see if it's dry before watering. You can do this by sticking your finger about half an inch into the soil. If it feels dry, then go ahead and water your plant. Another way to tell if your plant needs water is to lift the pot up. If it feels light, then that means that the soil has probably dried out and it's time to water. Also, take a look at the leaves. If they start to droop, then that could mean that the plant is thirsty. But wait, before you grab the watering can, there are a couple things to look out for to make sure that your plant doesn't end up dying from overwatering. First of all, make sure that your plant has drainage holes. Drainage holes allow excess water to escape from the pot and prevent the roots from sitting in water. If the pot doesn't have drainage holes, then you'll need to make sure that you're not watering too much because the water will have nowhere to go. And trust me, roots that sit in water for too long end up burning and dying. To prevent this, you can either put the pot in a bowl of water and let the soil absorb the water, or you can simply water the soil until it's saturated and then let the extra water drain out of the drainage holes. After the water stops dripping out of the bottom, then you're done. And lastly, make sure that you're using a well-draining potting mix. A well-draining soil mix allows water to pass through it quickly and prevents the soil from becoming compacted and soggy. You can purchase a pre-made soil mix specifically for indoor plants at your local nursery or garden section. Moving on to the opposite extreme, another very common way to kill a houseplant is by underwatering it. Underwater watering happens when you don't water your plant enough, which causes the soil to dry out completely. When this happens, the plant becomes very thirsty and the leaves start to turn crispy and dry. Usually you can revive underwatered plants if you catch it early enough. This means watering it deeply until the soil is saturated. However, if you wait too long and the leaves turn completely brown and crispy, then the damage is done and the leaves will eventually fall off. The best way to avoid underwatering is to set a schedule for yourself and stick to it. Depending on where you live and the type of plant you have, you may need to water it anywhere from once a week to once a month. Just remember, check the soil first before you water to make sure that it really needs it. The next reason that houseplants die is because of poor lighting. Plants need light to make their food, so it's important to put them in an area that receives bright, indirect light. Low light can cause a houseplant to become weak and leggy, which makes it more susceptible to pests and diseases. And too much light can scorch the leaves and cause them to turn brown and crispy. So how do you know if you're giving your plant the right amount of light? Well, it depends on the type of plant that you have. Some plants like to live in bright, indirect light, while others prefer lower light conditions. Just do a quick internet search to find out what kind of light your specific plant needs. And if you're not sure, then it's always best to err on the side of too little light rather than too much. You can always move it to a brighter location later if it needs it. But if you move it to a spot with too much light, then there's no going back after the leaves get scorched. Another reason that houseplants die is because of the wrong soil. Plants need a well-draining soil that is rich in organic matter to provide them with the nutrients that they need to grow. If you use a soil that is too dense or doesn't have enough nutrients, then your plants will end up dying. Luckily, this is really easy to fix by simply amending the soil with compost or other organic matter. You can also improve the soil by adding a vermiculite or perlite, which will help it to drain more quickly. The next reason that houseplants die is because of low humidity. Many houseplants are tropical and they like to live in humid environments. Low humidity can cause the leaves to turn brown and crispy and eventually fall off. Luckily, there are a few easy ways that you can increase the humidity around your plants. One way is to mist them regularly with water. Another way is to place them on a pebble tray. A pebble tray is simply a tray filled with pebbles and water. The water evaporates and creates a humid environment around the plant. You can also group your plants together. The water that evaporates off of the soil of one plant will provide humidity for the other plants nearby. Lastly, you can use a humidifier. A humidifier is a device that adds moisture to the air. This can be especially helpful during the winter months when the air is dry from the heat. Alright, let's talk about pests. Pests are any kind of bug that can harm your plants. They can suck the sap out of the plant or eat the roots, which can cause the plant to die. Common houseplant pests include mealybugs, spider mites, and whiteflies. The best way to prevent pests is to quarantine any new plants for 2 weeks before bringing them into your house. This will give you time to check for pests and treat them if necessary. You can also treat your plants with neem oil to prevent pests. Neem oil is a natural pesticide that is safe for humans and pets. Another reason that houseplants die is because of neglect. Neglect happens when you don't give your plant what it needs to survive. This could be watering it too infrequently, not fertilizing it enough, or not providing it with the right amount of light. For example, if you forget to water your plant for a couple weeks, the soil will eventually dry out and the plant will die. Or if you don't fertilize your plant, then it won't have the nutrients that it needs to grow and stay healthy. Or if you put your sensitive plant in a spot with too much direct sun, then the leaves will eventually burn and fall off. So basically, just pay attention to your plant and give it what it needs. Another common reason that houseplants die is because of stress. Repotting is one of the most common causes of stress for houseplants. When you first repot your plant, it can't access the nutrients in the soil because they get root bound. And this stress can cause the leaves to turn yellow and fall off. Luckily, there are a few things that you can do to help your plant recover from repotting shock. First, make sure that you don't overwater your plant. Give it time to adjust to its new pot and soil before watering again. Second, keep your plant in a bright but indirect light. This will help it to recover from the stress of repotting. Third, be patient. It can take a couple weeks for your plant to recover. And the last common reason that houseplants die is because of cold temperatures. Most houseplants like to live in temperatures between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Temperatures below 60 degrees Fahrenheit can cause the leaves to turn yellow and fall off. You can prevent this by keeping your plants away from cold drafts and windows in the winter. And that's it. Those are the top 10 reasons that houseplants die. I know that it can be frustrating when your plants die, but hopefully now you know how to prevent these things from happening so that your plants can thrive. Before you go, make sure to like this video. If you enjoyed it, share it with your plant-loving friends and subscribe to the channel for more houseplant tips. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.